How to create good boundaries. Boundaries is good. Boundaries are there to keep us safe. In fact, the easiest way to understand boundary is the ability to communicate an information without physically or verbally saying anything, in a non-verbal way. But many a times we find it extremely difficult to create boundaries. Hence, we go either fight or flight mode. Either we are being combative or we are withdrawing, losing friends, or I don't want to know, you just withdraw. You cut people off very easily. You cut, or your husband, your wife, whichever way. You are either fighting or fight mode. There's always tension around you and people. 3 sorts of reasons why many people can't create boundaries. Number 1, we have the people pleasers. They always want people to see that they are Mr. Nice, Mrs. Nice. They always want to be nice. They don't really say how they feel at a given time. And even if they have to say it, they have to, they're just sugarcoating around the sentences. They can't come out straight to say it. We call it people pleasers. They want to be seen in a certain way, perceived in a certain way. Or we have the other category that they can't articulate their emotion at the very given time. You have to go away first, reflect, think about it for so long, and then you go, this is what I really wanted to say. In other words, at a given time, you are not aware of your emotional needs. Sometimes therapy can help you deal with some of these things. And number 3, other sorts of people that find it extremely difficult to create good boundaries stems from culture. In other words, depends on how you grew up. Maybe you've never been allowed to deal with things. Mommy never dealt with things. Daddy never dealt with things. The household you came from, nobody deals with anything. Hence, you think this is the easiest way to deal with things. Hence, you withdraw. Or, you just don't know how to deal with things. So, how do you create good boundaries for yourself? Number 1, practice redefining the promises you make to yourself. In other words, you want to be responsible for yourself. The more you are responsible for yourself, the more it's easier for people to respect your boundaries. You are never ever in control of how people behave, but you are the only one that is in control of how you respond to people's behavior to you. So it is so important that you practice boundaries with, the promises you make to yourself, fulfill it. It could be little things like, today you want to spend time reading a little bit. Today you don't want to spend so much time on social media. Today you want to, you don't want to spend so much time on the phone. Today you want to do this. Some of the goals you set for yourself, redefine them and make sure they happen. When you are responsible for some of these little things, it is so easy for you to spot when your boundaries are not being respected. Number 2, practice assertive communication. Assertive communication is not about being rude. Assertive communication is not about being passive. In fact, many of the times, people that are not assertive, they are being passive. So assertive communication is being resolute. In what? A nice way. In other words, being able to say what you want at a given time, nicely. How does it happen? How you say it, when you say it, and how it's conveyed. You've got to find the right moment to say it. You've got to, the tone has to be right, and also the moment has to be right. You can go away and think about these things, and then maybe come back to the person and say, hey, yesterday I acknowledge that you were very, very upset, and I do understand. However, your behavior, this is how it made me to feel. And I was wondering as to whether, you are actually thinking in the same direction that I'm thinking, because I don't know how, this relationship can work if you behave like that. So this assertiveness, what you're actually doing is, 1, you're creating an atmosphere whereby you are validating the other person, whether it's your spouse or whatever, you're validating. 2, you are communicating an information about you to them. And 3, what you're doing is the possible way of creating a dialogue for discussion. So assertiveness is extremely, extremely important if you want to create good boundaries. My name is Abigail Borquaye, and until I come your way again, remember, change starts from the one that wants change. So, lead the way. Bye.